And we are live. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to week number 57 of the virtual AP Leadership Academy. Come on in. Come on in. Who we got here? We got Janine Wilkins all the way from Alaska. I say that every Saturday because that's a long way and I know it's early in the morning. Come on in. Let me know where you're coming from. If you've been with us, if this is your 57th consecutive week, let me know that too, right? I'm not mad at you if you didn't make it for all 57 weeks, but if you did, I just want to know. Vanessa's in the building. Nye, I probably butchered that, is in the building. Lavelle Johnson, Jennifer Griffin, Ena Patterson, Miss Shorter, Josh Tovar, my guy, Lori Ann Beasley, Dr. Sheikah Houston, Oakley Darrell, Lisa Holly Beaumont, Principal Otis Kitchen, John Herricks Falk, Stephanie, I missed it, Stephanie Gooden, my wife, the queen, Kimberly Broughton Kafele is in the building, Demetrius Scott, LaWanda Smith, Venice Lewis, Charlena Hottie, Jennifer Murray, they're all in the building. Aaron Packer, my guy, he's in the building. Jocelyn Nelson, Ebony R. Davis Stevenson is in the building. Tahita Robinson, Marsha Poe, Rodney Williams, Angelie Rivera. They're all here. They're in the building checking in. Where's that one that's been here for 57 weeks? Are you here? Where's that one? Where are those international folks? Sean Hurt's in the building. Just watch Principal Sean Hurt. You know, he does his live stream at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. So you check in with him at 10, then take a coffee break and get with me at 10:55. We got Allison Geary in the building, Dominique Price, Doomerville, Christy Shorts, Superintendent Finch is in the building. Where else are we here? I think, Angela Wright's in the building. I may have said that one. As you come in, hit that share button. Let them know. Let them know it's Memorial Day, but I don't stop. I keep going. Memorial Day weekend, I should say. I don't rest. You know what I mean? I try to get some rest in. Don't get me wrong, because I'll have people counseling me in a minute. I mean, I get rest. Principal Dot McKeever Jeter is in the building. Linda Trevino is in the building. So I keep it moving. This is 57 consecutive weeks. And, we're going all the way up to 100, and then I'll figure out what's the next move. Yolanda McKinney's in the building. Sharice Anderson is in the building. John Shure is in the building. Shronda Kai Weiss, Tabricia Lawrence is in the building. We got a lot of folks in the building. Come on in. Come on in. Hit the share button. Twitter, hit that retweet button. What's the other one? YouTube, man. How could I forget? YouTube is out there. I don't know how that works. I need to see if there's a share capability on live streams. I don't know. But check it out. Principal Ronnie Harvey doing big things in Lake Charles, Louisiana is in the building. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna make a note to myself because I want to come back to Principal Harvey. So when we get officially started, I got to come back to him. So hang on, Principal, for you in case you got things on your menu today. I want to come back to you. We got Michael Benton from Cincinnati, Ohio, in the building. Ohio girl. Jones is in the building. Jakeitha Pre-Jean is in the building. Cynthia Farmer, Sabrina Lindsay Law, Tiffany Napoleon, Keisha Jacob. Lysandra Brackens is in. They're all in the building. Hit the retweet button. Hit the share button. We're on 4 platforms: Virtual AP Leadership Academy on Facebook, Principal Kafele on Facebook, at Principal Kafele on Twitter, and Virtual AP Leadership Academy on YouTube. Young man asked me this morning when he saw the advertisement that I put on Twitter. He said, how do I see the live stream? I wrote back, where you been? Right? 57 weeks. But I know everybody's not aware. Jesus Juan Flores is in the building. It's about that time I need to get on. Hannah Taylor is in the building. Charlene Leeden Lewis is in the building. But I did go on and send him the videos, the YouTube channel, to catch up with all 56 and then be up up to snuff with number 57. Byrianne is in the building. Byrianne Collins. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. So let's get it rocking and rolling. I got a lot on this agenda. This is the last one I'm doing for an hour, unless circumstances dictate that I go long. We getting ready to reduce these to like 40 minutes, some 30, 40, 45, whatever it is. But be that as it may, let's get started, y'all. Formally to you, good morning, greetings, and welcome to week 57 of the virtual AP Leadership Academy. And let me tell you, I don't know about you, especially those of you in the Northeast where it's raining, it's dreary. I had to turn the heat on this morning, right? I mean, I don't know what's going on. So, but I don't know about you, but I'm gonna speak for me for a second. Despite the world, you see it, the country, the nation, all week long, it's stuff happening. But despite it, I'm on fire. I gotta be. If for no other reason than I'm going to be on here this morning, right? If for no other reason, that is people that see fit to come on the broadcast and spend some time with Principal Kafele. If there's no other reason, then for that singular reason, I need to be on fire. Woo! See, I'm saying to you, you got up this morning. I could get on here and there are no numbers, no people, right? Then people say, it's Memorial Day weekend, or I heard enough of this guy, whatever the case may be. But for whatever the reason that you decided that I'm coming on board today, I got to bring fire. So let's translate that to you. For whatever the reason, and we know the reason, but I'm gonna use the same language that your students walk into the building or show up on the screen, and your staff walk into the building, and your staff show up on the screen. Just that alone means that your fire has to be raging. That's what I mean when I'm saying that. So yeah, I know it's stuff going on out here that should make me, like get on here and I'm mad and I want to go into that. But that's not what this virtual AP Leadership Academy is about. Because some of those behaviors out there have to be rectified, and that may be rooted in your leadership behavior. So that always has to be taken into account. So make sure that you are bringing that fire. So let me jump into it. I got a quick message for you, my motivational message. I've been using this prefix protecting. So I'm gonna call this protecting your mission. Now, you'll recall I've talked about protecting your purpose. When we talk about your purpose, we're talking about your why. We're talking about your reason. We're talking about your because. But when I talk about your mission, I'm talking about your foundation. I'm talking about what you stand upon, right? So your mission, what you're about, you got to protect that. Like you're about something. And whatever this thing is that you're about, that drives you, I'm not talking about your why now. Your reason, your because. I'm talking about what you're about, what you stand on, your foundation. You got to protect that. Because I'm telling you right now, but I'm not telling you what you don't know unless you're an aspiring administrator. But those of you who are in there, you know this. You know that there are forces. You know that there are people. You know that there are circumstances. You know that there are situations that can easily undermine, sabotage, infiltrate your mission. Those forces are there, right? It could be people. It could be superiors relative to people. It could be people within the building. It could be people outside of the building. It could be people anywhere, or it could be circumstances, or it could be situations that can undermine, sabotage, infiltrate your mission. So therefore, you have to protect your mission. One day, I'm gonna tell you my story in terms of when I hit rock bottom as a principal. I just haven't had the context for it yet, but one day we're gonna get into that. I plan to write about it. It's almost movie worthy, right? I hit this rock bottom, but I didn't let it infiltrate my mission. Write that language down, because I didn't have that in my notes. I had undermine, undermine, and sabotage and all that. But I like this other word that like hit me on the live stream. Infiltrate. I like that word, because that's a little bit more potent. allowing something to infiltrate your mission, because now it's like all up in you. You feel me on that one? It's like all up in you. It's infiltrated you. And you know, when in the political world, when you got folks that infiltrate, say, an organization, for example, right? Typically they're not going to know that they've been infiltrated. They don't know. They think that the people that are in their circle, maybe the closest people to them, like when Malcolm X was assassinated, one of the people that was trying to give him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation was an FBI agent that he thought was his main bodyguard. So he had been infiltrated, right? And that's just one individual. So your leadership can be infiltrated, right? And now here you are. You thought you was walking in your mission, and your mission is in this direction. But now you walking in this direction and you don't even understand why. Because you have allowed people, you have allowed forces, you have allowed situations, you have allowed circumstances to infiltrate your personal leadership mission. And now instead of walking this way, you walk in this way and you don't even realize why. You're walking this way and you don't even realize why, because you did not protect, you did not lock down your mission. Somebody putting that thing, amen, if you hear me, right? If you hear me. Oh, y'all already doing it. You saying preach, right? Yeah. If you hear me, just give me an amen on that one, because you know, and you know, I'm using slang. I don't mean you hear me because your ear heard it. I mean, do you feel it, right? Like young people say, do you feel me, right? In terms of that infiltration of your mission. You can't let anything come in here and distract you, deter you from your mission. I'm spending more time on this message than I normally would because it's so critical, because I know there's somebody out there. You came in there with a certain mission and now you over here somewhere and unhappy, unsatisfied, unpleased, contemplating leaving the work because you can't be you. Well, maybe you can't be you in that setting. Maybe you need a different setting, or maybe you're not strategic and you were too blatant, and now folks don't understand you. They can't relate to you because you didn't realize that you got to be able to finesse your movement. See, you got to know how to maneuver. You know, we talked about that before. So I'm gonna get off. See, obviously, I could do a whole session just on protect your mission. I'm trying not to, because that's not the theme today. So let me move on. I think I'm gonna come back to that one like in a few weeks, because I got a lot to say on that. I got a lot, because some of y'all out there, you listening to me, you hear me. Thank you. You hear me, and you know that your mission is being infiltrated. Now, I don't mean like some sinister plot. Don't get me wrong. Here I go. I'm still on it. I don't mean that. I mean just you haven't been able to deal with the variables. That's what I mean. So you let stuff get all up in your mission, and now you're not the person that you started off being. You have transformed into somebody else. You're not even you. You're not your authentic you. That's what I'm saying. Man, I'm trying to get away from this thing. This is supposed to be a few seconds. You're not being your authentic you. You looking in the mirror and you see somebody else. Do you hear me? This is not planned this morning. Y'all work with me for a second. You looking in the mirror and you don't recognize who you see. That's what I'm saying to you. Because you have allowed circumstances to morph you into somebody else. And now you walking in somebody else's shoes, perhaps someone else's shoes you've never met before. Someone else's shoes you don't even know, but you walking in their shoes. And then you walk past a mirror. You just walk and you glance and you see your reflection. Like who is that? Yeah, because you ain't your authentic self no more. You ain't walking this path no more. You over here. You somebody else that people don't even recognize you. What happened to you? Right? Did you dye your hair? Right? What did you change did you get plastic surgery? Did you cut your hair? What's going on? I don't recognize you. And you like, you know something? I don't recognize myself. Who is this? That's because you didn't protect your mission. you didn't lock it down. See, you gotta lock it down. Let me jump off this, y'all. This, I guess that's a sensitive one for me. This supposed to be like for like a hot minute, and then we go to the word of the day. I'm gonna be quick on this word of the day. Word of the day is books. Books. You know, a few weeks ago I talked about read, right? I said you gotta read, but now I'm saying here, I'm going beyond that. Like here's a portion of my library. You know, we got books all over this house, like literally every room, right? So this is a portion. You gotta have books. But in your case, I mean, it's easy to go to the internet, and I know people on Kindle and all that kind of stuff. I get it. But I'm saying to you, you got to have a professional development library, not just the one that's in the school or at the district office. You got to own one. You got to have a professional development library that you could just go to and pull a book off the shelf. That's what you got. You got to have that. So you got to be this ongoing, steady consumer of books. So you're just adding books, not to your shelf, you know, just to say, oh, look at my books, but to your repertoire, to your leadership, to your knowledge base. You gotta have books. You gotta read. You gotta grow. You can't rely on what you got in graduate school. If you graduated from graduate school in say 2021. Most of what you got by the time you get to 2023, 24 is obsolete, or you're not going to remember it. You got to stay current with the times. It's people now, you know this, in this business, but they're not conversing in today's language. See, you got to be conversing in today's language, not the language of yesterday, but today, right? So let me keep moving. That's so books is my word of the day. All right, y'all, let's go. This is my last long one. My wife keeps saying, yeah, okay, sure. Right. But I think it is. I'm trying to reduce these a little bit so I can like hit it and quit it. So, you know, the message won't be as long and all that kind of stuff. But let me go. Congrats. Once again, I say it every week to the folks getting these positions. Oh, man, I get a lot of emails. I mean, a whole lot of emails from folks telling me, or inboxes, DMs, etc. Thank you. Principal Kafele, that virtual AP Leadership Academy, those interview videos, oh, man, I got offered like 3 positions. I had to choose one, people telling me. I'm like, there you go. Bam. Right? Amen. Bam. Those of you who are listening, you saying, man, I wish I could tell that story. It's coming. Long as you stay faithful to your cause, it's coming. Right? And so those of you, if there's somebody on the call right now and you just got your position, put it in the thread so folks can let you know that they're proud of it. Put it in the thread, right? So where we at here? I don't normally shout out names when I see them on the thread, but my aunt Kathy Matthews Baggett is becoming a star on this thread because she be dropping some gems. And I noticed, hey Kathy, you don't know this, but on Twitter they be talking about you. You know, they say, Aunt Kathy doing it, man, dropping dimes, dropping gems. You know, so so my aunt Kathy Matthews Baggett is in the building. She said books are still taking over my life. Right. And in fact, let me find that one. Yeah, here we go. She said books are still taking over my life. She probably said, Baruti, you better stop putting me on blast every week or I'm gonna stop tuning in. So let me keep going, y'all. The new format, let me real quick, because I got to get to the content. Next Saturday is the brand new virtual AP Leadership Academy. So first Saturday is going to be the leadership content that I normally do, but I'm trying to reduce the time. We'll be using this book, primarily, The Aspiring Principal 50, because if you're an AP and aspiring to be principal, this is for you and anybody else. But also, a lot of people don't realize it says, and new and future leaders, a lot of new leaders don't realize I wrote this book for them. So we're going to be using a lot of this, but we'll also continue to make reference to the Assistant Principal 50. The second Saturday will be called Let's Talk Classroom Equity. So we'll be talking equity in the classroom as it relates to your leadership. The third Saturdays will be called Let's Talk Social Justice Education. And once again, social justice education as it relates to the classroom under your leadership. So it's always going to have that leadership thrust. And then fourth Saturday, I'm going to interview somebody. So some of y'all wait by the phone because I'm going to be calling some of you. I'm gonna have somebody on here would do interviews or roundtables with more than just myself and one person. And then when there's a fifth Saturday, same thing, either an interview or a roundtable discussion on leadership. Right now, gotta let you know I got this in my hands, y'all. You know I'm pumped about this, man. You know that. Some of you, those of you that know me from social media, then you know I've been going a little ballistic in letting people know that it's here. Just post after post. So the Equity and Social Justice Education 50 critical questions for improving opportunities and outcomes for Black students. So this one was a little different from books I've written in a while. I wrote Motivating Black Males to Achieve in School and in Life back in 2008. And then I've been just writing education books that were kind of generic, but then or leadership books. But then I said, I got to go back to my roots, and I got to write that book for educators of Black children. So here you go. It came out the 26th. Amazon is out of them right now until next week, but you can still go ahead and pre-order now because there's a big rush for these books. So just go ahead to Amazon and get your copy. ASCD, the publisher, they have them in stock. So if you want to go to ascd.org, you can just order your copy and it'll be sent to you right away because they're in stock there, right? And then Barnes & Noble should have them next week as well. The internet, not the store, but I won't even get into it. So the Equity and Social Justice 50, Education 50. I'm hyped. I'm amped. I'm pumped. This is my 12th book over my 30-year period of writing. I've been an author since 1991. So this is my 12th, and I got a few more up my sleeve. So, I'm not finished at number 12. But do get that book. It's important. This is important stuff. If you don't have Black students, it's still critical to you. Just the conversation on equity, the conversation on social justice is for everybody. But if you've got at least one Black student in that school, I'm gonna call it a must read, right? A must read. But I'm excited to have this book in my hand. Let me put this right in that camera. All right, the Equity and Social Justice Education 50, dedicated to the lives of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. It's written right in the book. Let's go. My 4th annual School Leadership Institute, July 13 and 14. Go to principalkafele.com and register July 13 and 14. Just a nominal cost. 13 and 14. Half days, 12:30 to 3:30 Eastern Daylight Time, both days. Just go to principalkafele.com, scroll to the announcement section, click the link to register, and I'll see you in July. And that's it. Hit that share button. Groups, those of you that belong to groups. I know Donna Scherer has been really a blessing for me, hitting all them groups up on the thread. So hit those groups, and I appreciate it. And I'm ready to jump into this topic. I'm sorry I took so long. When I started talking about that protecting your mission, man, that thing took me somewhere. When I wrote it on my in my notes, it didn't move me. I just wrote it and kept moving. But when I started talking to you, it kind of took me somewhere, right? So those of you that checked in late, rewind later on and watch my message, my motivational message called Protecting Your Mission. Our topic today is, although you're a leader, you're always a teacher. Let me say that again. I'm in it now, y'all. No more preliminaries. I'm in it. Again, today's topic, and I don't talk about the shirts anymore, but this is Jackie Robinson's minor league jersey. Before he played for the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1947, he played for the Montreal Royals, the farm team, the minor league team of the Brooklyn Dodgers. And his first game was here in Jersey City at the Roosevelt Stadium. And this is the jersey that he wore with number 9 on the back, the Montreal Royals. So I'm wearing a Jackie Robinson, right? So now here we go. So again, although you're a leader, you're always, let me say that with emphasis, you're always a teacher, right? You're always a teacher. You can never lose sight of that. So, wow, Vanessa, I see you just put the title of my first book back in 1991 when I was just a young 30-year-old guy trying to figure out life. There it is, a Black Parent's Handbook to Educating Your Children Outside the Classroom. I appreciate that. Appreciate you putting that in the thread. So, like sometimes we'll get these leadership positions, right? And we think now, okay, I'm a leader, I'm leading people, I'm managing people, I'm supervising people. And that's sometimes with some of us, not all, but some of us, that becomes the mentality that I'm this leader now. So I'm not in the classroom anymore. I'm not teacher. I'm AP Kafele. I'm principal Kafele. I'm superintendent Kafele. I got a nice ring to it, right? Superintendent Kafele, right? Or assistant superintendent Kafele, right? So, but obviously we put your name in there, right? So here we got. Let me pick on somebody real quick. We got Tanya Pugh on here. So we say Principal Pugh. We got Assistant Superintendent Pugh or Superintendent Pugh, right? So whatever it is, but here's the thing: we don't abdicate the teaching role at all. The teaching is the teaching. It's just that it's in a different form now, because now your role as teacher, you are a teacher of staff. You're a teacher of teaching staff. You're a teacher of support staff. You're a teacher of the entire staff. You're a teacher, right? And you can never lose sight of the fact that you're a teacher of staff, right? You can't lose sight of that, because that's what you are. So here, I'm looking at this whole, when I say teacher, first I got a question for you. And this is not one of the questions, but it's a question. You can make it one of the questions if you want to. But here's the thing. The question is, do you see yourself in your current leadership capacity? Do you see yourself as a teacher? That's an important question. That's one of those ones that could take me on a tangent, which I won't allow to do here, but it could, because I'm asking you, do you see yourself as a teacher in your present role? Are you teaching? Now, here's what I'm not asking you. I'm not asking you in terms of if a student is sent to you for disciplinary reasons and now you're down in your office teaching that youngster the difference between right and wrong. I'm not talking about that. I'm not minimizing that, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about staff, right? I'm talking about particularly your teaching staff. And I'm asking you, do you see yourself as teacher? Said self-reflectively, do I see myself as teacher? And within my capacity of teacher, are the people around me who are the recipients of my teaching, are they growing? See, are they benefiting? Because see, when we talk about teacher, let me add another word to it. So the teacher/coach dynamic. So you're not just there someone to supervise, quote unquote supervise, whatever that means. Someone to manage, right? Whatever that means. But you're someone there to grow people. You're someone who's there to develop people. You're someone who's there to nurture people. Right? You're someone there to make people stronger, make people better, make people more effective, make people more efficient. That's what you're there for. But you can't do that if you don't wear the hat called teacher. Let me grab a hat here. Knicks in the playoffs, they trying to do their thing. They got stomped last night, but put the Knick hat on, right? So now we'll call this the teacher hat, right? So like, do you have on your teacher hat in a portion of your day? You may not be teacher all day long, but is there a portion of the day where you've got your teacher hat on and I'm teaching, I'm educating, I'm enlightening my staff, right? So we look at it teacher on the one hand, but now let's look at coach. See, that coach, it's almost synonymous with being that teacher, but you helping to move that person along. You're coaching that person, right? You're motivating that person. You're inspiring that person. You're helping that person to move along step by step, right? So you're coaching, you're informing. I wasn't gonna wear this the whole session. You're teaching. You're making them that much more proficient at they do. So now let me throw the question back at you. Do you see yourself as a teacher in your current capacity based on what you do? / do you see yourself as coach in your current capacity based on what you do? Right? So given the latitude, the flexibility that your principal, those of you who are APs, may give you. Do you see yourself teaching and coaching is what I'm asking you, right? That's critical to what you do. So with that, I wrote a note down here. I wanted to read something to you from the Aspiring Principal 50. Let me read this to you, and then we're going to build on it. It says, what I didn't realize at the beginning of my now 30-year career was that the principal was a source of professional development, right? Let me say that again. And I'm reading right out of those of you that have it. I'm on page 14. What I didn't realize at the beginning of my now 30-year career, that's back in 1918 when I wrote that, was that the principal was a source of professional development, right? So I didn't know that at the beginning, that I was a source of professional development. I did not know. I thought that I was a disciplinarian, a supervisor, and a manager, probably. So it says, in my mind, the principal was simply the boss, and I got that in quotes, the boss, and her role or his role was to hold the school together. This is young, rookie, naive me. All right, so, and to be a good disciplinarian. As my knowledge of education grew, and particularly when I began to study educational leadership in graduate school, I became to realize that professional developer is among the many responsibilities of the principal. The principal simultaneously trains staff and ensures that staff receive ongoing professional development from multiple sources throughout their tenure at a school. Huh? That's a lot there. I sound like Rick Ross when I said that, didn't I? Huh? Right. Some of y'all said, who's Rick Ross? Don't worry about it. It ain't even important. Let's keep moving. So now with that, I'm at question number one. Question number one says, can the teachers that I supervise look at me and conclude that they are better educators because of my role as a teacher, a professional developer? And my emphasis is on professional development. So let me read that to you one more time. I'm saying here, can the teachers that I supervise look at me and conclude that they are better educators because of my role as a teacher? I can stop that right there. Right. So let's look at it. Let's look at it. You got staff all around you. And they may not necessarily just come to you and say that. Let me see what this is. It's coming, Donna. It's coming, right? It's coming. I hadn't read it before I put it on. It's coming. So it should be this week. So now I'm saying here, you got teachers all around you, right? And they may not necessarily come to you and say, hey, assistant principal. Hey, principal, you know, I've grown significantly because of you, right? They may not say that. They might, but they may not. You could do your own formal and informal surveys to gauge it. You know, those of you who feel bold enough to do that, I have no issue with it whatsoever. But none of that's what I mean. Here's what I mean. I mean, can a student, I'm not a student, can a teacher look at you and you just kind of gauge that teacher knows that teacher has grown because this relationship has been that meaningful, right? I don't mean you being cocky now, egotistical. I don't mean that. But I mean, you just, as you observe the teacher from afar, in a conversation, at a meeting, whatever it is, that can you conclude that this teacher has grown, right? Or can you conclude that this teacher recognizes that he or she has grown, pedagogically speaking, right? Again, can the teachers that I supervise look at me and conclude that they are better educators because of my role as teacher? And notice I didn't say because of your role as leader. I didn't say that. I said your role as teacher. So now they look at you and here they are. Like I'll be that teacher for a minute. Wow, this has been a great experience. Just the ongoing professional learning that I've received within my collegial relationship with my supervisor. I know so much more. I feel so much more prepared to walk into a classroom and teach. I've been exposed to so much more. I've been made aware of my deficiencies that I didn't even realize that I had. I became aware of the shortcomings that I had in the classroom that I was not privy to, that I did not realize that I even had. See, that's what I mean, right? Can that teacher conclude that based on just being in that space with you because you know you're that person? See, only you know that. So the question I'm asking you is, are you that person? And feel free to drop this right in the chat here. I see everything, right? Are you that person? Do you feel within your own heart of hearts that my staff is growing because of my role as teacher, right? We know you're leader, so that's a given. So I'm not going to use that language right now. But your staff has grown because of your role as teacher. But see, in terms of you and your role as teacher, let's go back to the word of the day today, books. You got to have this. Now I'm using this symbolically, meaning you've got to be broad in what you know. It doesn't mean that all of your information is coming out of a book. You know, a lot of times people ask me, like, when you write your books, like where are you doing your research? See, as you grow in life, as you know, there's something that kicks in called wisdom. And when I prepare each of these weeks, write a lot. I mean, of course, there are books I lean on whenever I write. But when I prepare these agendas, I'm not in these books. I'm in my wisdom, right? I'm in my wisdom when I prepare these 57 agendas. I don't think I've ever opened up a book that I didn't write to prepare these agendas, because experience in life gives you wisdom, right? It expands your knowledge if you've got your eyes and your ears wide open. So I'm not saying to you that all of what you know is going to come from a book. A lot of what you know is going to come from your walk. But are you applying, and this is the question, are you applying what comes from your walk, from your experiences, from your wisdom, from your challenges, from your obstacles? Are you applying that to your relationship with staff toward making them that much more proficient at what they do? See, that's crucial. So, see, because in the final analysis, and this is just me now, you can't be, in terms of who you are, just a compilation of the books you've read. There's got to be some you in there too. See, if all you are is like all your thoughts, all your thinking in terms of who you are professionally is always rooted in, well, Dr. So-and-so said this, and Dr. So-and-so said that, and you quote them like you're the master quoter. You can quote all these people, and Dr. So-and-so said this. So everything about you're like a compilation of different people's writings and quotes and research and so forth. No, but you also got to be you. So everything's not rooted in a book. There are things that are just rooted in your walk. And see, a lot of what I do, you know, and this is me going back as a teacher, this is me as a principal, this is me as a speaker. It's just rooted in my journey. It's rooted in my common sense. It's rooted in what makes sense. But obviously, I'm also well read, right? So just keep that here too. Let me go to number 2. Starts with a statement, then I got a question. The theme of this academy is, does my assistant principalship benefit my school academically? That's the theme of the whole 100 weeks, right? So in this regard, I'm asking self-reflectively, am I a teacher/coach of my staff? So I kind of got ahead of myself in my commentary from the first one, but I'll still, let's roll with it. Yep, nevertheless, let's roll with it. Am I, number 2, am I a teacher/coach of my staff? So in other words, now I'm removing the fluff from everything I said before. Here go one of my East Orange colleagues here, East Orange homie. My man, Dr. Stephen Webb in the building, right? So here I'm saying, as a matter of fact, y'all gotta give me a timeout real quick, because when I said Stephen Webb, it made me think of Principal Harvey. I'm gonna tie him into everything that we're talking about right now. I gotta highlight this young man, this very young principal on this call right now, Principal Harvey, out of out of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Principal Ronnie Harvey. He led a high school this year, where they had 2 hurricanes at the start of the school year. Remember the hurricanes in the fall? Well, they got direct hits, right? Not like the side of the hurricane. They like got the eye, right? So they got direct hits. Then they got the ice storm, and folks would, houses were demolished, right? But yet here he is doing his thing. He was selected as state finalist Louisiana Principal of the Year. They don't know the winner yet, but state finalist Louisiana Principal of the Year. You're very young principal. My point is this. I already know, because I know him. We're talking about teacher and coach. So speaking about him kind of fits in good here, and thinking about my man Stephen Webb, who went from he was the head custodian at the first school I taught at in Jersey. The person who you see name on right now, head custodian. Now he's Dr. Steve Webb. He's the principal of a school, but he's also Pastor Steve Webb. So don't tell me, and you forgive me, Webb, if you ain't want me putting this on Front Street like that. But don't tell me that these children, based on where you see youngster in real time, can't still evolve into whatever it is that he or she conceptualizes, or what you conceptualize. But you can't put yourself in a situation where you're the one that's shortchanging youngster, because you have low expectations for the youngster. You have low standards for the youngster, and that youngster looks up to you, and that youngster internalizes your words. So now the youngster hasn't self-sabotaged. He had a teacher that did all the sabotaging, or a leader that did all the sabotaging. So that young man's name you see on that screen, Stephen Webb, again, that was the head custodian. I wasn't the principal. I was a teacher. He was the head custodian at the school. So I don't know who was looking at him and saying, I bet you that young man's going to be the principal one day. I don't know who was thinking that way, right? I bet you that young man's going to be the pastor of a church one day. Or I bet you that young man, like see the head custodian down there, I bet you he going to have his doctorate. I don't know who was thinking that way. I don't know. But it's what happened. So I'm saying to you, you can't look at youngster and draw a conclusion that this is it, finite, that fixed mindset, because it's too many people that defy the odds. It's too many people that go beyond anybody's expectation. And that's why, going back to my question, I'm asking you, am I teacher / coach of my staff? See, that matters. Because see, if you're not teacher / coach, and youngsters in classroom failing and exhibiting undesirable behaviors, and we somewhere in the parking lot talking about, yeah, he'd be dead in 10 years. Yeah, he'd be locked up soon, right? And having them doom and gloom conversations rooted in deficit speech and deficit language, then that's probably where the youngster's going to be. But if you are teaching, and then if you have staff on your staff, and they bring that deficit speech and deficit language, deficit thinking and deficit culture, but here's you teaching, oh no. Because I was watching Principal, just to use as an example, I was watching Principal Kafele. And he talked about Steve Webb, who was the head custodian, who's now Dr. Stephen Webb, who's now Principal Stephen Webb, who's now Pastor Stephen Webb. I was listening to Kafele. So if you've written that youngster off, let's write them back on. Get your pen out and write them back on. See, that requires you to be teacher. That requires you to be coach. See, Principal Ronnie Harvey on here was a coach. So he was able to parlay those coaching skills into his leadership, young principal. And now the whole state looking at him. And I mean, and we talked recently, y'all that didn't have to work through a pandemic, a hurricane, a second hurricane, an ice storm in Louisiana. What they know about ice, right? So now, and yet the state says, despite it all, we looking at you as one of the best, as finalists, Louisiana, Principal of the Year. Don't tell me folks can't soar when they have a teacher, a coach in leadership. I got to say that to you again. Don't tell me folks can't soar when they've got a teacher, a coach in leadership. See, that's you. That's why I created this academy, man, because I see so many schools using assistant principals as full-time disciplinarians. No. If you've got a need for someone to be a disciplinarian, then principal, hold up your mirror, hold it up and look at yourself, because you don't have a discipline problem. You got a culture problem that requires your attention. That's not something to delegate and thereby relegate the assistant principal to being a full-time disciplinarian, because that is not addressing your problem. So now you writing referrals all day, calling parents and let them know we sending your child home or suspended, whatever it is. That ain't the problem. That's micro. That's like this. It's macro. It's like this. You got a problem with the culture of the school. And that's where the attention needs to be, on the culture of the school. So principal, before you put that off on the assistant principal, no, you and the assistant principal and the rest of your team need to come together and look at this culture and examine where are the flaws, where are the deficiencies, and what do we need to do to transform, reshape, remold, refashion into shape the culture of this school. See, that's where the emphasis has got to be. See, let me keep this thing going. I'm on, man. Oh my God, this might have to spill into another week. At number 3, as I reflect upon my leadership, can I conclude that I am and have been an asset to my staff relative to their professional growth? Let me read that to you again. That was a long one. As I reflect upon my leadership, can I conclude that I am and have been an asset to my staff relative to their professional growth? Now, I got these 5 examples that I wrote I want to give you. And this is just 5 random examples. I could give you a whole lot of this, right? So let me give you these 5. Number 1, equity is lacking in a classroom, right? So equity is lacking in a classroom, right? So now I'm asking the question, can I conclude that I've been an asset to my staff relative to their professional growth? So now you observe that equity, because see, when we talk about equity, we're saying students going to come in as they are. And our role is to meet them as they are, where they are. We're going to get heavy into that as I get into June through next May, right? By way of that, right? So again, you notice that equity is lacking in a classroom. So not only is that troublesome for the teacher, but think about it. The children are the losers. They're the ones that lose out when there's no equity, when you don't take into consideration that young Principal Kafele does not learn like youngster sitting next to me or youngster in front of me or behind me. He learns the way he learns. Has that been taken into consideration, right? Or young Principal Kafele is motivated according to this strategy, which will not work for this youngster over here. Does my individuality matter in that classroom? So therefore, you as leader, you as teacher, in your relationship with your staff, are you an asset to that staff member toward ensuring that the individuality of each student in the classroom manifests and matters. That matters. That matters. That matters. Here's Principal Harvey right here. He said, we must start meeting students where they are instead of expecting them where they are not. That's Principal Harvey I told you all about. Not one hurricane, 2 hurricanes. Matter of fact, I'm surprised. I don't know if Marcus Jackson's around because they're in the same district. Marcus always talks about they didn't start school until November because of the hurricanes. And then here comes an ice storm in hot Louisiana. Right? So, but there he is. Don't tell me we can't be successful, because we can. Right? Let's keep it moving. So equity was number 1. The second one, various instructional strategies are deficient. I'm asking you, are you an asset to your school? And now I'm saying, well, you've detected in a classroom that various instructional, as asset to your staff, various instructional strategies are deficient. You've gone into the classroom. I could use the language instructional leader. It'll work, but I want to use a different language. Teacher. In what way are you a teacher to your staff? That your staff, well, let's isolate it to one classroom. That this particular teacher is able to overcome the various different deficiencies in instructional strategies that are not meeting the learning or academic needs of the various learners in that classroom. In what way are you that teacher? In what way are you that coach? Because remember, we said although you're a leader, as the topic said today, although you're a leader, you're always a teacher. See, that you don't relinquish that. And when you feel that you have relinquished it, then you need to go to your mirror. You can't lead at a high level if you're not in that building teaching. You can't do it. You can't call yourself a great administrator, because there's so much more. I tell people, you've probably heard me say this on here before, don't call me an administrator. That's an insult. I don't want to be known as an administrator. Call me a leader. Call me a teacher. Don't call me an administrator, because that just conjures up thoughts of shuffling papers around. It's so much more to what we do than papers, right? So are you a teacher of that particular instructor, a coach of that particular instructor, that this instructor is growing because of you? Next, I told you I had 5 examples. Instruction lacks engagement. So in the first one, I said instructional strategies are deficient, but now here I'm saying the strategy in terms of the instruction may be sound, but the engagement is missing. So there's no real engagement there. Students are detached from it. They feel disconnected from it, right? So here's you as the teacher helping the classroom teacher to help youngsters to make those connections, that they feel engaged, like I'm a part of the lesson. My 4th example, the culture of the classroom is negative. So there's just this overarching feeling of negativity within that space. Well, in what way are you teacher/coach in your professional developer capacity to help teacher to transform that culture so that it doesn't feel so negative? So it doesn't feel negative at all, but the culture is positive. You remember in a previous lesson, I talked about the intentionality of what students see, what they hear, what they feel, and what they experience. We're going to get heavy into that when I get into this new format starting in June 5th. So, but again, the intentionality, which is next Saturday, the intentionality of what they see, hear, feel, and experience as it relates to the culture of the classroom. Because if what they see is not consistent with who they are and what they hear is not consistent with what you want them to be, and what they feel is not consistent with how you want them to feel, and what they experience is not consistent with the overall experience that it should be as a student in that classroom, that's where you come in as teacher. That's where you come in as coach. See, that matters. Again, I want you to keep holding up your mirror and ask yourselves the question, in my hours of being in that school, whether it be at the school, and if those of you, so I know some of you are on summer break now, but you need to be still thinking about your role as leader, right? And you're asking yourself, am I a teacher? Within my leadership capacity, am I teaching? Am I coaching? Am I enlightening? Am I engaging? These are questions you have to ask yourself within that collegial relationship that you have with your staff. Let's keep moving. Last one. Children underperforming. Children so here you are, you're supervising, you're a supervisor of teachers, but you've noticed, or we'll isolate the one teacher, but you've noticed in this classroom that the children are underperforming. Well, you can't threaten that out of you can't threaten success out of a teacher. You can't memo success out of a teacher. You can't punish success out of a teacher. You can't intimidate success out of a teacher. It's easy to write up a memo. I need to see improvement by next week, or by the end of this month, or, so everybody's scared. No, that's not how you make folks effective. You make them effective through teaching and coaching. That's how that's done. I can't threaten something out of you that may not be in you. Y'all need to hear that one again. I can't threaten something out of you that may not be in you. See, sometimes we think if we intimidate, if we look a certain way, our posture, our facial expression, that'll get them right. Not if it ain't in you. You may have to teach that. It may not be there. They may not have gotten it in undergraduate school. So now here's you. You're going to teach it. See, you're going to teach it. See, we can't be so quick to write to write people up. Teachers teach. You remember that when you were in the classroom. You taught. That's what made you so effective. So don't come into leadership and leave everything back in the classroom that made you great. So here you were a teacher. You had multiple strategies. You were equitable, and you understood that young people learn differently. Then you got into the leadership team, and now you treating them all through an equality lens and expect everybody to be the same. No. Those same methods you used as a classroom where you were equitable have to be applied as a leader with your staff. It may take a little time. Right? So therefore, I'm saying to you, you got to always be that teacher. Be that teacher. Obviously, y'all, I'm not going to finish this today because I talked a lot about that protecting your mission and some other things. So I had 15 questions. I'm going to go up to number 6. I'm on number 4 now. How important do I consider professional development to be to the teachers that I supervise? Right? Again, how important do I consider professional development to be to the teachers that I supervise? And I'm saying, look at this through the eyes of an AP, an advocate for the teacher. So in other words, I'm asking you, in your current capacity, whatever, from superintendent all the way to the aspiring administrator, to what extent do you deem that professional development is crucial for your staff? That's what the question is asking. Right? It's how important is professional development for your staff? And when I say that, I don't mean like, and I when I was writing my notes today, I said, man, you're getting ready to sabotage yourself on that one. But I'm gonna do it anyway. I get invited to speak in schools every day. I literally speak to a school staff every day. That's of my life. That's what I do. Zoom right now, but I'm back on them planes next week. right? And for those of you, because some of y'all, quick commercial, some of y'all, you see me on Saturdays and you think that this is like my existence. I know that because I could see it from certain emails I get. Principal Kafele, do you happen to have a website? Or people will say, Principal Kafele, do you by chance speak to school audiences? And I laugh every time. I say, man, it's people that watch me on here and they think this is all I do, right? Listen, for a living, I speak to school staffs and leadership teams. That's what I do, or principals and assistants, all that kind of stuff. So I'm saying here, feel free to go on the website, which I'll give you later, and invite me to come in and do that, where I don't have to rush and all that, and we can break stuff down, right? But I said all that to say this. As a leader, which is part of what I teach, equity is not just teacher-student. Equity is leader-teacher. Right. So I use that, talking to you about what I do as the bridge to get here. So I go into a school and I'm giving the whole district. It could be literally 1,000 people in the room, a district, and they're all receiving the same thing. Well, there's no equity in that. Or a conference, and there's 5,000 people in the room. There's 10,000 people in the room, and they're hearing the same message from the one guy. There's no equity in that. I'm saying to you, I could do that as a keynote speaker, but you can't do it as a building leader. Because everybody, just like equity with children, equity with staff, your whole staff is not in the same place. Now, of course, I'm not going to tell the people, don't invite me to this engagement because I don't want to give the same message to your staff. I'm going to take it and hope that I'm connecting with all 500 of them, whatever the number is. But with you in your building, you can't take that approach. Your approach has to be that teacher A, teacher B, teacher C, teacher D, and teacher E are all in different places. So why am I sending them all to the same academy or the same institute or giving them the same message? Teacher E might be someone that's way up here. And teacher A is way down here, 22 years old, just stepped off of the university and now in the classroom for the first time. And they're getting the same professional development. Teacher E will probably be very insulted by that and probably disgruntled by it and looking for ways I can get into a different school or a different system or whatever it is. Just as we have to be equitable with students, we have to be equitable with staff. So here you got this in-service day, and you got the mandatory in-service speaker coming, like that's usually me, and everybody's got to attend. And now here's teacher E I was just referring to that doesn't need this. Like they need what I'm bringing, but I mean somebody else, right? They don't need this. But they rookie A, B, and C, they really need it. And now they got E got to sit in there with them. Where's the equity? See, there is none. I'm saying to you, as in this question that I asked, how important do I consider professional development to be for the teachers that I supervise? That has the extension to that is professional development to the extent that I am meeting the learning needs of my teaching staff. See, not just PD. See, when we say just we ought to provide PD, and now we're giving everybody the same thing, and then we call ourselves equitable practitioners in the classroom. You got to be equitable with your staff too. So maybe like those schools that bring me out, maybe you might want to start bringing me like twice, right, or 3 times, and you got group A, group B, group C, right, in terms of what the needs are, what folks need to hear, and all that kind of stuff, as opposed to everybody hearing the same thing. I don't know. Just bottom line, no, just keep bringing me out. I'm going to produce regardless, right? So now for you on the building level to get serious, I'm just saying to you, I didn't read all of what Merlina Valentine, that's another one of my great colleagues out here, but whatever she said, I know it's worthy of being up here. So go to her page, Merlina Valentine on Mathau, I think. I've never heard her pronounce that her maiden name, but I think it's Mathau. But go to her page. Whole lot. Just go to her page. Whole lot of learning on that page. That's a former principal, now full-time presenter like myself. Just go to her page and check her out and send a friend request and order her books and all that kind of stuff, right? Just go to that page. I'm strongly recommending that, right? So here I'm just saying for you as I'm wrapping up, you got to make sure that you're meeting staff where they are, just as the goal is to meet students where they are. It matters. Just ask the staff; they'll tell you. they'll if no one else, they'll tell you. Oh, there's the good doctor, Dr. Marcus Jackson in the building, right? So you were probably there all the time when I was talking about you. So here, let me wrap it up. I said, I'm almost wrapping. I said, how important do I consider professional development to be for my teachers? Now here's the follow-up. What is the evidence that I deem it to be important? That's the BAM question. What's the evidence? What is it about your walk? What is it about your leadership? What is it about your journey throughout the course of each and every day that it is more than evident and apparent that professional learning for your staff matters? What is the evidence? See that word evidence is such a powerful word in our profession in a multiplicity of different ways. You know, you just look at whatever we say, whatever we do, what's the evidence? See, if there's no evidence, then it's not backed up by anything. You know, it's just emotional. So there's got to be evidence, right? So I'm on the last one. Number 6. I was supposed to go to 15, didn't make it, right? To what extent is equity a consideration as it relates to how professional development is provided or rolled out for your staff? So obviously I got way ahead of myself with number 6, and I already addressed it. So let me just kind of summarize it this way. You must be an equitable leader, not just an equitable practitioner as it relates to children, not just encouraging, nurturing, bringing about equity in your classrooms, but in your dealing with your staff. Equity also matters. It does not imply that your superstars that are performing at high levels have no margin for growth. It does not imply that at all. It just means that what they need is not necessarily the same thing that rookie teacher fresh out of the university, age 22, just walked into a classroom and never taught a day in his or her life outside of student teaching. It does. I'm just saying they are not equals. They don't necessarily need the same thing. If it's some new program, then obviously they can be in the same space. But if we're talking about something that one teacher has a wealth of experience and success in, and now they have to sit through a training with the rookies, that's not fair. Let's make sure that we are such advocates for our staff and such advocates for professional learning that when we prepare the in-service day, we prepare the in-service day in a way that it's beneficial for everybody. Because if you take Superstar and put Superstar in the meeting with the one that just last year you was going to the frat party, right? So last year this time you was at the frat party, and now you teaching young people, and now you got the two of them in the same session. Let me show you what Superstar gonna be doing. Here, watch. Let's see what they said on Instagram, on Facebook. Let me check the text messages while I'm at it. That's all it's going to be. Or Superstar will be texting the other superstars. Can you believe this? like really? Are they serious? They really have us in here for the next 4 hours? That's all they be. Y'all know that? You know that. So since you know it, why subject them to it? See, that's what I'm talking. Yeah. There you go, Cammy. The superstar could lead the PD, right? So now instead of thank you for that, Cammy. So now instead of subjecting the superstar, now the superstar develops a sense of leadership. So it's still PD for the superstar because you're teaching. You're teaching adults, which is a different animal from teaching children. So now you're teaching adults and you're still growing. See? So, man, it's so much more to say, y'all. It's 12:06. I'm not going over. I will pick up from where I left off next week. Hear me. Let me, before I close, don't leave me yet, because I got to tell you about the time. I won't be on at 11 next week. I'll be on at 2, because I'll be in Houston. I got a PD a keynote to do in Houston in the morning, and then I'm gonna dash on over to my hotel and set up in my hotel room, or if the folks are nice enough to give me a meeting room, I'll do it in there. I'll be somewhere, but I'm not breaking this streak. That's the point. So I'll just be a little late. So 2 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. If by chance I'm not on, that means I'm in traffic. I will be on, right? So if I'm not on at 2, just keep checking, and I will be on. So that's next week, 2 o'clock. Let me just give you the rundown here, and I'm done. For those of you that checked in late, so we're gonna try. We're shooting for 30 to 40 minutes a week instead of an hour. Week 1, leadership. Week 2, equity. Week 3, social justice education. Week Saturday, fourth week, which is all Saturdays, I'm gonna interview somebody in leadership, and then when there's a 5th Saturday, I'm gonna also interview or do roundtable talks. So that's what we're gonna do. Once again, for those of you that checked in late, it is here. It is hot off the press. Matter of fact, it's so hot I can't even hold it in one hand. Oh my God, this thing is hot, man. It's hot. It's hot. The Equity and Social Justice Education 50. Don't write me and say it's not in stock on Amazon. I know it's just hot. So go ahead and order it. They'll have their copies in next week, and they'll ship them right to you. So please don't write me. Oh, Kafele is out of stock. I know, because it's red hot, man. It's red hot. Just go ahead and order it, and then you'll get it, and then you can read it. And we'll be using this during the 3rd and 4th, the 2nd and 3rd weeks of the AP Leadership Academy. Make sure that you like and follow my virtual AP Leadership Academy Facebook page. Make sure that you subscribe to my virtual AP Leadership YouTube channel, and make sure you go to my website, principalkafele.com, and scroll to announcements and register for my 4th annual School Leadership Institute, July 13 and 14. It'll be different content from this, and it's just a nominal cost, not that much, but just go ahead and go to my website and register for that, and I'll see you. It's going to be 12:30 to 3:30 for 2 days, July 13 and 14. And then lastly, and then I'm done, your diet. Man, now that the world is opening back up, I don't know how good that is, but it is. I'm back in the gym, as some of you know, and I've been losing weight, man. That was my goal. I'm losing weight. So I'm eating right. I always did that, but I'm getting better exercise. I was exercising outside, but I get better exercise in the gym. So that's the bottom line. But I'm sharing that with you to say to you, take care of yourself. So eat right. Get that exercise in daily. Maybe you take 1 day off, maybe 2 days off, but at least 5 days a week. Get that cardio work in, and make sure that you still take COVID precautions. Don't think, like, those of you not vaccinated, don't make us who are vaccinated sick, and don't make those who also are not vaccinated, don't make them sick. Stay 6 feet apart. Keep your mask on when you're out there, right? Take precautions, because children have been suffering as a result of not being in their schools. Right. So let's just make sure that we look out for ourselves. And then lastly, again, for those of you that don't know, some of you think I'm just the guy that comes on Saturday and whatever. I don't know what he does with the rest of his life, but I know he comes on Saturday morning. I'm a professional consultant. I speak. I do workshops. I do presentations. I do one-to-one consulting with school leaders. I do all that kind of stuff. principalkafele.com. Just go there and see what I do, and then send me an email and say, I need you to come to my school and work with my staff. You'll see all my topics on the website. I need you to come to my school and work with my staff, or I need you to come to my district and work with my principals or my assistant principals or my central office administrators, whatever it is. I do all of that. It's what I've been doing for the past, about 30 years of my life, in addition to being a principal, but full-time the past 10 years since I retired from my principalship. This is how I live. So now I do it on Zoom. I still do it on Zoom. So those that don't want to have a live speaker, then we do it virtually. I sit in this chair and I talk all day. This is what I do, or engage all day. That's my life. So principalkafele.com. Reach out to me. Let me know what the needs are, and let's connect. Other than that, folks, Appreciate you being here. You have a great week. Have an extraordinary week. Have your best week yet. Have a great Memorial Day weekend as well. Peace. Peace. Thumbs up. Cock your fist back and count to 3 with me. 1, 2, 3. Bam! Once again, I appreciate you being here, and I will see you next Saturday at 2 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time from Houston, Texas. See you then.